Hey guys, welcome back to the Conservative Core, where our goal is to shine a light on the ridiculousness of the left. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe and notification button. Well, it looks like we got some more info about July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. With each day that passes, we get more information, more details, and more footage. Now, before I share this all with you, I want to ask you two things. First, why do you think CNN was live streaming the Butler rally when everything went down? I mean, this was their first Trump event live stream in like 5 years. Why this specific one? Weird, right? I mean, they were also the first ones on the scene during everything that happened with Roger Stone. Also, isn't it weird how the media just kind of stopped talking about this? It is almost like this happened years ago. We are still less than a month out, and it seems like the big media companies just don't care anymore. But yes, this new video is even more alarming than we initially believed. Let's run it.
Still can bring him up for a couple of minutes. The world will see a vibrant Republican Party.
So this is a video that was taken 3 minutes before everything went down. And the big question still remains, why was he allowed to remain on stage? Hell, if a random video recording on an iPhone can spot the movement, how in the heck could no one in the Secret Service not see this? Like, come on. This is a cell phone camera. It's blurry and not even focused, yet you can still see a figure moving on the roof. It is clear as day. I mean, people see this and they really can't help but to think it's an inside job. What do you think? Let me know below in the comments. We're returning to the same questions in these videos, but it's essential to keep asking because we have yet to get any real answers here. What is the explanation for this? Is there any explanation at all for how this was able to occur? Because if we just let this slide, we won't ever get any answers.
Why on earth did the snipers assigned to the second-story window with a clear view of that infamous sloped roof, a clear view of where the shooter stood and tried to kill President Trump? Why was that manned initially with snipers, with sharpshooters, and then abandoned at some point before the shooting took place? Now look, these are and should be obvious and easy basic questions for the Secret Service to answer. And they have had no fewer than 17 days since the attack to answer these questions. These are questions that they should have started asking and probably should have been able to answer within 24 hours. And yet again and again and again, what I heard, what my colleagues heard, what you heard if you were watching, was we're looking into it. I'm sorry, that doesn't cut it.
I mean, we all are asking the same thing. How can no one spot this guy on the roof? And Dan Bongino is spot on here.
What I don't understand, and I say this to people who have reached out to me, and you know who you are, who are still defending this, what is left to defend? You were told 90 minutes out. You were told 60 minutes out. You were told by text. You were told by radios on the tactical net. You were told probably by email, I would guess. The security room failed. The PI team failed. The CSU team failed. The poststanders failed. The shift failed. The DL failed. The locals. Nobody stopped. I don't understand. You're expecting people to believe the implausible because they can't believe the alternative that this much incompetence was displayed on the same day.
You start factoring all this in, and then the fact that Pennsylvania officers spotted crooks 90 minutes before Trump was struck. But new details around emerged from text messages between local security units obtained by the Republican Senator Chuck Grassley and published and verified by the New York Times, including that local law enforcement had spotted crooks 30 minutes earlier than what officials had previously said. So, 90 minutes before Trump went on stage. I mean, just take a listen to the messages. Someone followed our lead and snuck in and parked by our cars, just so you know. I'm just letting you know because you see me go out my rifle and put it in my car, so he knows you guys are up there sitting to the direct right on a picnic table about 50 yards from the exit. This is in a group chat around 4:36 p.m. when one of the officers texted that his shift was ending. He warned that a man, later identified as Crooks, had parked nearby their vehicle. 2 other counter snipers responded with a thumbs up emoji and responded, writing Roger that. And then about 45 minutes later, at 5:10 p.m., officers flagged that Crooks was on the move and had positioned himself near the American Glass International building. Then at 5:38 p.m., another message reads, "Kid learning around building we are in," an officer wrote in a text message, along with an image of Crooks. AGR, I believe it is. I did see him with a rangefinder looking towards stage. FYI, if you want to notify us as snipers to look out. This is a huge deal because at the last hearing they told us it was 60 minutes. So clearly this is not true. And then to make matters even worse, he was spotted. He was acting weird, so he definitely was a suspicious person. And then we get responses on the hearing like this.
So this individual was identified as a suspicious person. Can you explain to us when a suspicious person becomes identified as a threat?
Well, I think it's also when a weapon or some other dangerous item is then presented.
A rangefinder would not render someone a threat as opposed to somebody who was under suspicion?
I think the rangefinder is what initially brought him to the attention of local law enforcement.
And why would the president be allowed to take to the stage while a suspicious person had been identified and before the Secret Service or local law enforcement were able to investigate the circumstances?
So at that time, Senator, suspicion had not risen to the level of threat or imminent harm.
The situation is being completely mischaracterized. It's not as though they simply spotted the suspect with a rangefinder and then ignored him. While it's clearly problematic, it's not the most extreme issue. The real concern is that they identified him 90 minutes in advance with a rangefinder, noted his suspicious behavior, and then saw him again. Despite this, there was no communication about him to the Secret Service. He was allowed to roam around freely and even managed to get onto a roof where, supposedly, snipers were stationed in adjacent buildings with a direct line of sight. It's baffling that not only Trump went on stage, but Crooks was allowed to still be up there. Meanwhile, many attendees at the rally, mostly at the back of the venue, identified the threat and reported it to the police. Yet no message was relayed to the Secret Service, who remained unaware and did not find it necessary to remove the president from the stage. Come on. It's illogical and disturbing. Moreover, there were 2 Secret Service agents who clearly should have seen the suspect. If they didn't, then we have a totally different issue. The suspect was visible from the roof, directly within the line of sight of both the Secret Service agents on the ground and the snipers positioned on the roof behind President Trump. The vantage point they had was similar to the viral footage shown earlier, likely clearer due to their elevated position. The responses from the Secret Service are particularly baffling, as there has been no coherent explanation for their actions. The FBI and DOJ are similarly disorganized. For instance, Christopher Wray recently suggested that President Trump might have been injured by shrapnel rather than a bullet. There are serious questions and concerns about the handling of this situation.
As I said, I think with respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that that hit his ear. So it's conceivable. Although, as I sit here right now, I don't know whether that bullet, in addition to causing the grazing, could have also landed somewhere else. But I believe we've accounted for all of the shots in the cartridges. So let us get that.
It's my understanding.
Their explanations are all over the place and don't add up. As more information comes out, it gets more and more fishy. I mean, how else can you explain such a series of unfortunate events stacking up without thinking something is up here? A few coincidences or mistakes might be understandable, but the complete failure to perform their duties, the bizarre excuse about the sloped roof, and the agents who inexplicably disappeared, especially those who were supposed to be manning that roof, make no logical sense. What do you think? Let me know below in the comments. But that's all I got for this one. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like this video for more conservative news. See you in the next one.